You're listening to Comic Reflections, episode 154. I'm your host, Nicholas Prom.
I'm Jeff Barnhart, a man caught between dark insanity and yet darker reality.
Comic Reflections is brought to you by Rhymes with Geek. You can check out this show, plus several other cool podcasts like the all-new Anti-Fanboy, Ultimate Facepalm, and Feed It Comics at rhymeswithgeek.com. Comic Reflections is also available at backissueheroes.com, the home of classic comics on the web. And if you enjoy our show, please subscribe to us on either iTunes or Stitcher. So, today begins our descent to madness, or further anyway. We're going to spend this whole episode talking about Adam Warlock.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to start with Strange Tales number 181. The story is called 1,000 Clowns, written by Jim Starlin, penciled by Jim Starlin, and inked by Al Milgrom.
Yeah. I'm going to start off saying that the last week, last episodes we had, I didn't particularly like Adam Warlock. I thought he was boring. Didn't like the people with him. I didn't like Man Beast. I thought the story's kind of... This is pretty dang good. This is really, really good.
Yes, it's very impressive stuff.
They finally figured out what to do with him, I think.
Jim Starlin was the right man for the job. He had come off working on Captain Marvel, you know, and he was just perfect for this. This issue in particular is kind of infamous and has some controversy about it, and I'll get into that as we progress.
Interesting. And this is before the evil clown meme. So
Right.
All right. Adam Warlock finds himself in a world of clowns.
Well, sort of. He's been fighting evil and stuff, like the minions of his evil self, the Magus, his evil future self.
Mm-hmm.
And anyway, they've captured him, and they put him mentally into this world of clowns, where they're, okay, and the lead clown, his name is Lentine, and that is definitely Jim Starlin sticking it to his editor, Len Wein.
Oh.
And there's another clown in here who is an artist called Jan Hatrumi, who is intended to be mocking John Romita, who is basically the first person that comes to mind when you think of the Marvel house style, artistically speaking. So
these are little digs. I mean, they're not meant mean, right? They're just...
kind of.
Are they?
Yeah. Here's the thing. Jim Starlin and his stuff was a big shift in comic book art and writing, okay? And he's fighting against the establishment of how we do things in the biz, and doing things differently. He's kind of an iconoclast. And he's fighting against, the system of how, well, we don't do things that way. It has to be this way. And so the clown world is him making many serious digs at Marvel Comics and the mainstream comic book industry as a whole.
Yeah, it's all right. It's well done. What Adam Warlock finds himself in this world of clowns, but it's actually the matriarch of the Universal Church of Truth is playing with his mind to make him pliable like everybody else in the Universal Church of Truth. And it's not working. It's not supposed to be clowns, but Adam Warlock thinks his mind has changed it to clowns instead of heroes or whatever. So,
right.
Which is interesting.
Yeah.
Super well drawn. Very nice.
Yeah, Jim Starlin, terrific.
Although some of the stuff looks like people must have ripped it off for a stereo advertisement, the way it looks, but it's very early 70s. I'm not saying that in a bad way.
Yeah, and also if you'll notice, I think on the splash page, there's a dedication to Steve Ditko.
I noticed that,
and that's very important. And then some of the digs that he takes at Marvel Comics are definitely in his honor, so to speak.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but it's really cool.
Yeah.
All right, so the clown. Let's see, what's the
Lentine.
Lentine is trying to talk Adam Warlock into accepting this. He puts clown makeup on him.
The clown that puts the makeup on him is Jan Hatrumi, which is John Romita.
Yeah, and his Adam's expression is great. He really hates it. He wipes it off immediately.
With his cape. I love that. That's a good panel, too.
Okay, and then we meet... What's her name?
Gamora, the deadliest girl in the galaxy. You may have heard of her from a little movie called Guardians of the Galaxy.
Ah.
The foster daughter of Thanos, evil-ass mofo from outer space. The Mad Titan.
Yeah. And she's looking good. And Pip, the
troll.
troll. Man, trolls are so... They can be anything.
Sure.
I guess, because
in Thor, trolls are like big and burly.
Yeah,
but I think
so was Lord of the Rings, and
I
guess isn't Shrek a troll?
He's an ogre.
Ogre. Okay.
Sad that I even know about that crap.
Yeah. But he's just a short little guy. He looks more like
an imp, like an elf. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Or a small elf, like the.
Yeah. But he doesn't have like hooves, or does he? He's a bit like a satyr.
I don't think he has.
I think he has regular feet, now that I think about it. But yeah. But he kind of reminds me of that. Remember the satyr that was friends with Arak over at DC?
Yes.
Yeah, that guy was cool too.
Mm-hmm.
He was the last of all of the satyrs. He was the last of his race. Anyway.
Yeah. So
in the clown world, in the clown dream or whatever, they're throwing pies at somebody on a cross. And the person looks like Roy Thomas. Huh. And I'm not understanding what they're saying there.
Yeah,
I think either. Yeah.
That's a bit too much inside baseball, I think.
A little bit.
Yeah. All right. So the matriarch comes and checks on her scientist, and I love the matriarch. She's a great villainess.
She's really interesting, and she's very pulpy. She's reminds me of a Republic serial type of character, or just a 1930s actress. That's how she looks.
Oh yeah, okay, but she, in a good way. Usually, I don't like the way old hairstyles are, and it's just. But in this one, it really works well, and she has a sense of humor, which is not laughing at people burning up or something like that. It's just she seems like a decent person, except she's trying to take over from God.
Yeah.
And that's what she's trying to do. I mean,
and then so we see a panel where Adam Warlock he's captured, and he's seeing there's a helmet that's over his head, and that's showing him living in this clown dream. Mm-hmm. They're trying to brainwash him, and it's just not working.
Yeah. And she thinks that Adam Warlock's turning the people into clowns is funny.
Yeah.
And wow, that's pretty cool.
So outside of that, Pip and Gamora are kind of on the way to rescue Adam.
Mm-hmm. And let's see what's going on. All right, so we have this thing of people building mountains of trash, literal trash. But there's this gem in there, which is the most expensive gem of all time, and
this is another. The mountain of trash is a metaphor. It's another dig Jim Starlin is making about there being some good stuff in comics, but a lot of it is just garbage. And Lentine is saying like, oh yeah, it collapses every once in a while, and some of the clowns die, but when they just build it right back up again.
Yeah. And
it's a vicious cycle. And Starlin is talking about like, come on, let's break out of how we traditionally do comics. Let's take risks. And so I like that.
Yeah. Really well drawn.
That's excellent. Amazing. And the way the panels are laid out is just breathtaking. It's so amazing that this issue got made. You know?
Yeah.
But it's great.
All right. Gamora is kicking some butt.
Yep.
And she looks fetching in her outfit.
Yeah, this is her classic costume. I like it a lot.
Yeah. I don't think it would have made the movie.
No.
She wouldn't be able to move, I don't think. So the Lentine takes Adam to a door and says, oh, you go through that door, you'll go insane. So he opens the door, goes insane, and then frees himself.
Yeah.
From
And
the
fights this
helmet.
weird monster. What's it called?
The Madness Monster.
Yeah. Super psychedelic stuff going on, like nearly every panel, and it's really amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. It's
Yeah.
really well drawn. And
So Adam escapes with Gamora and Pip, and then he's confronted by his evil future self, the Magus.
yeah, who is him with a big afro?
Yeah, the guy's like purple costume, lavender skin. He's got an afro, and he's got like an original Captain Marvel kind of lightning bolt on his chest. But yeah, and he's evil
awesome.
and junk.
Yeah, pretty cool.
So this story continues in Warlock number 9, and the story is called The Infinity Effect, written by Jim Starlin, penciled by Jim Starlin, and inked by Steve Leialoha.
Yeah, there's a little splash page tells everybody what's going on, who the people are, and
That's important.
yeah, and it goes, our troll Pip, our hero's dishonest, self-serving, immoral, undependable, but likable friend. He doesn't do much good in this.
No, but he's just kind of like
The
he's a
comic
fantastic.
relief.
He is a comic relief. He is a fantastical creature who is also kind of an everyman. So yeah.
Yeah.
So Adam Warlock is confronting his evil self, and the Magus is mocking him because he knows everything that he's ever said and done, and he starts, speaking at the same time, doing everything Adam says.
That drives Adam crazy.
His protests against this. So Adam is committed to fighting the evil of the Magus, and the Magus has conquered galaxies, and he is just super wicked. He's an evil god.
Yep. Yeah. We get the origin later, I think.
Yeah, we do.
And
But the Magus is creepy. His Universal Church of Truth preaches peace and love, and then conquers planets that actually practice that.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, I thought.
I
mean, not in practice. I thought it was a great idea. So.
Yeah, and that's, I think, some social commentary from Jim Starlin.
Right.
Certainly valid.
Yep. It's a weird picture of Adam gets into a cocoon. This was Magus's history.
Yeah.
And
Adam was born from a cocoon and became, him, and then Adam Warlock later as a transformation. He's like a butterfly.
Yeah, he gets into a cocoon and then gets eaten by this big mouth in space.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that's a metaphor or what, but he goes mad and then becomes Magus.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty cool.
And then Magus just kills the crap out of all kinds of people.
Yeah.
And is super evil. And has more powers than Adam. Because longer time, Adam is kind of like came out of the cocoon early. Magus is if he stayed and became, or once he goes back to the cocoon and stays and gains more powers.
Mm-hmm. It tells him how he started the church.
Yeah.
And meets a matriarch who really takes over from him and does a really good job. And now she's going to be off.
Mm-hmm. But she
I
messed up.
liked her too. So
she was interesting, yeah.
And usually, women in comics are not interesting except maybe to look at. But that's
right.
But she was interesting, and Gamora is interesting.
We have a shift away from the female characters in comics being the shrinking violet. In the 70s, we're moving toward more stronger female characters, which is important. There's a bomb or something that's going to go off. Or no, there's there's a countdown between, because the Magus is summoning the In-Betweener, who is this cosmic being that will serve some evil purpose of his.
That'll start the whole thing rolling.
Right.
And making him to Magus.
And so they're trying to stop the Magus from doing that.
And it doesn't work.
So the In-Betweener is summoned, but it takes him a little while to get there. I don't know why.
It's summoned, the attack happens, and it's 30 minutes for the In-Betweener to come. And so they have 30 minutes before it all starts.
Right. So that's the only time they have left to stop the Magus.
Gamora was supposed to kill him
the
Magus right before this happened, but it didn't work.
Yeah.
Because they missed him. So her boss, who is mysterious and no one knows, who sent her to do this, shows up, and it's Thanos. And
yeah.
He's a great introduction.
Yeah,
And it's really cool.
He makes an excellent entrance, and
It,
he's like, now Thanos he didn't want to dirty his hands with this affair, but he feels he has to intervene now because it's going to mess up some other plans of his later.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, Thanos shows up, and who knows what's going to happen now?
Cool.
Well, we do because we read it. But
yeah.
So moving on to Warlock number 10, continuing this story, How Strange My Destiny, and Jim Starlin wrote this. Jim Starlin did the pencils, and Steve Leialoha did the inks.
Yeah. All right. So Thanos sends 25,000 soldiers
to destroy Adam Warlock and Thanos and Gamora.
And it's 25,000, and they fight and fight and fight and fight and fight.
And it's awesome.
Oh yes.
And this is really beautiful artwork on every page, every panel. It's fantastic. I mean, beyond cinematic in its scope.
Yeah. It's just really pretty cool. Oh, nice page. I thought it was an ad.
No, this page is kind of recapping some things that have gone before, and it's amazing. The single large panel on this page with a text sidebar. This could be a poster blown up and made into something incredible. So
yeah,
and showing all the stuff that's happened before in this story and what's going on with Adam Warlock.
Yeah,
and it's cool.
I love the face of Warlock and Magus.
Yeah, like and it's kind of blended.
Yeah, well, they're split in half.
Right, kind of like when you would see Peter Parker and the Spider Sense was Tingle, and you'd see half the Spidey mask when he's like, "It's time to go be Spidey."
And when it went to commercial on Incredible Hulk will be right back.
right.
I love that. Actually, that's my favorite part of the show. But yeah, really, really cool. There's not much to say about it. It's just so super awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so they go into the caverns underneath the city where they're fighting, and here they see the matriarch, and she's dying, and she has a good death. And
yeah, she was not totally evil after all.
Yeah.
And she and Adam kind of make peace, and it's kind of beautiful and poignant.
Mm-hmm. I did like her. I wish. I'm sorry she's dead.
Yeah. And so we go cut back to, Adam is mad that she had to die, which is odd, or it's something. And then we cut back to Thanos, and then we get a weird a 2-page kind of interlude with Captain Marvel explaining who Thanos is. And this is amazing too.
Yeah, it is.
We know Thanos is a Titan. He's the brother of Star Fox, and he used to rule Titan before he was overthrown, and he worships death, and he's evil, and he wants to destroy all life.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think his interference or his intervention in this story is the Magus, the existence of the Magus threatens his future plans.
Right.
So.
Yeah. Oh, man, that's awesome. I do like Thanos.
Mm-hmm.
But it's...
Go.
Okay, so they escaped 25,000 guys. Can't really talk about the fight because it's just monstrous and cool. So they've escaped.
Adam and Thanos.
Yeah, and Pip and Gamora. Pip gets a cigar. Okay, it's kind of odd.
He likes cigars.
Yeah, I guess so. Thanos explains how he got Gamora. And
she was the last of a survivor of a peaceful race that the Magus had destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
And he took her as an orphan and trained her into the deadliest woman in the galaxy.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Back on the planet, Magus discovers that they disappeared, and he's really mad and finds out there's Thanos and the cause of all this.
Yeah, and so, yeah.
Man, it is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Very nice. Really? Yeah.
And there's all kinds of time travel-y crap that's involved in this because time travel is the way to stop the Magus from becoming the Magus and doing all the evilness.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't have the conclusion to that story.
Oh man, that's too bad because that was good.
Oh man, it's awesome. I think all of that is collected in the Essential Warlock which we will talk about in the future. So
cool.
We'll revisit this. So, but let's talk about, we have another issue of Warlock to round off this episode. It's Warlock number 13, and the story contained is Here Dwells the Star Thief, and written by Jim Starlin, penciled by Jim Starlin, and inked by Steve Leialoha. And now, look at the splash page of this. You notice we see a scene of a kind of Adam's figure kind of incorporeal over this hospital.
Yeah.
Wildwood Hospital.
Why does that sound familiar?
Because this whole story, and the splash panel particularly, is kind of a tribute to Will Eisner.
Oh.
And this is really the way the story plays out. It's a spirit story.
Oh.
You know, so Wildwood Cemetery. That was the spirit's hideout.
The spirit is wonderful. The movie was awful.
Yeah.
Man, I was so disappointed. It looks at the preview. I was looking forward to it.
I mean,
wow,
to watch the film, it is gorgeously filmed, but it's an awful, awful movie.
Yeah, man.
Visually, it's wow, but that's one to have on in the background and not really watch with the sound on, because it's just awful. But anyway.
All right, they're in a hospital, and this nurse is creeped out by this guy who is comatose, and he has a helper there, and everyone's freaked out about it, and all the doctors and nurses are just kind of gosh.
Yeah. So, but the guy is a deaf, blind, mute.
And I guess he's in a. I don't know. Why can't he walk around though? I wonder.
I don't know. So,
something happened to him, and his
an accident of birth.
Yeah, and the parents paid this guy to look after him, and we go back to Adam Warlock,
who's out in outer space, being outer spacey.
Yeah, and stars are dying.
Yeah, and weirdness is happening, and every panel is amazing.
Yeah, the bizarre brain of Barry Ballman,
and that's the name of the Star Thief, and so we're going to learn about him now.
Yeah, his mind was working, and he couldn't see or feel anything, so some kind of something happened to him and became powerful and was able to go out of his body and function.
And perceive things on a higher level than human comprehension. Despite his lack of senses, his ESP is like phenomenal.
Right.
On a cosmic scale.
And he's mad at the world.
Yeah.
So he's going to destroy the universe.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so he's blanking out these stars, and his plan is people on Earth, like observatories, will notice that, and the Earth will throw into panic and chaos. You know, before he destroys it.
Yeah.
He can take control of his nurse's his man nurse's body, and can go about the world through him also.
Yeah. He lifts up an ashtray in his hospital. Man, this was the 70s. And scares the nurses. And he's blacking out the stars.
Which is crazy. He's like killing all kinds of life. Like in the X-Men and the Dark Phoenix saga, which actually comes later than this, now that I think about it. Wait, actually, can I look at the front page? I need to look at the indicia there. Thank you. 1976, so yeah, by several years, this Dark Phoenix, you know, she absorbed a sun, and then like a whole planet of like 5 billion people was wiped out.
Yeah.
And that's why she had to die. But anyway.
Hey, Guardians of the Galaxy advertisement.
Yeah, but it's for the original Guardians of the Galaxy. And only one of them made it into the movie. You know, it's Yondu, who was a bad guy in the movie.
Planet of the Absurd.
Yeah. I think I've read that issue, too.
Any good?
Yeah.
Marvel Con 76.
Yeah, it's you know, in the 70s, the comic book convention started to really be a thing, started to take off, and that was one. So, but anyway, what's happening with Adam Warlock? He's fighting the Star Thief, and the Star Thief has created beings out of rock to smash.
It looks cool.
Yeah, to awesome. Clobber Adam Warlock. They're fighting on a planetoid or in space or something.
Yeah, and it's pretty cool. It's sort of wham.
Yeah.
It's awesome. They're huge and mean looking. It's really great.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Adam Warlock's no slack. He kicks her butt. So, uh, it's pretty cool. Then we get a dialogue between the two, and Star Thief wants to destroy Adam Warlock, and Adam Warlock says no. And we're going to start a game against each other, and it ends. The
Yeah.
comic ends.
It ends with a cool splash panel of Adam, flying into action.
Yeah. The
Pretty
panel
awesome.
before that is that,
Of the Earth descending into chaos.
yeah, that's a science fiction and comic book trope. We can't let the people know because there'll be chaos. And I don't know. There's going to be chaos. There wasn't chaos after 9/11, and that's pretty dang bad. And
Yeah, but that's not the same as stars blinking out of existence
I don't think
rapidly.
To tell you the truth, I think most people wouldn't care. And most people live in cities that they can't see the stars.
True. But also, this is fiction, and in this fictional context, people are panicking. So,
Yeah. All right, pretty dang cool.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, I guess we'll see you next time in the Funny Papers.
Yay! Be sure to like us on Facebook if you enjoy this program. The end.